Okay, so next up, we're gonna talk about this
So,
clip that I ran across. So this was a video that I came across on WorldStar, but it was originally uploaded to WorldStar via TikTok. So the TikToker's handle is at its Guru Benny with three N's. I guess that's, I don't know what the significance of that is, but she's talking about why it is that men go crazy over women and fall in love, and apparently it's a hormonal chemical reason. That's the reason why, apparently, according to her. And she went way down the rabbit hole and did some extensive research. So we are going to comment on the research that she discovered, and we are going to opine as to whether we think that it is bogus or not. So we're gonna go ahead and share this. We're gonna share this explanation, and then we'll talk about her opinions on this afterwards. Again, this is it's Guru Benny talking about why men fall in love with women.
Men have this sick obsession with you when you play hard to get, when you come off as mean.
Okay, guys, I look a crazy ass mess, but I just had to get on here and explain because this is becoming a common issue. The girls are asking, and I found the answer. So apparently, when a woman is in love, or what makes a woman fall in love is the release of dopamine and oxytocin. So this can happen when dopamine is released when you're just happy. You can eat food or whatever makes you happy, you'll release dopamine. But oxytocin is released for women when they have, do things like having sex with somebody. Now, men, their love hormone is released when they release dopamine, like women, but a hormone called vasopressin. So, vasopressin is a hormone that's released in men that make them fall more in love. But guess what releases that for them? It's not sex. So women are out here sleeping with men, think that the more that they sleep with them, the more they're gonna fall in love with them, or they're out here doing nice acts for men. Oh, I'm gonna do this for him. Oh, I'm gonna do that for him. I'm gonna be loving, thinking that that's gonna make them fall in love with them. Because if a man does that for a woman, that's what makes us fall in love. But it's not the same the other way around. Vasopressin, a man's love hormone, is released when a man is stressed. Can you believe that? So the reason why men are like weirdly obsessed with you when you ignore them or when they have to chase you is because it's releasing a love hormone. The stress of having not having you is actually making them love you more. Not only is vasopressin, a man's love hormone, released when they're stressed, it's released when they have high volumes of sodium in their body. So, like, basically, if they eat, obviously, if you eat, you're increasing sodium levels in your body. And I guess that's where the term comes from. The way to a man's heart is through his stomach. So if you're feeding your man and stressing him out, he's going to love you. But let's push the food shit to the side. The things that we as women have to get together and collectively understand, because this is a scientific thing. Look it up yourself. I went into a rabbit hole finding this shit. I was like, oh. But the thing that we as women have to understand is all that lovey-dovey shit. Oh, I'm going to do this for him. Oh, I'm going to kiss his ass. It's going to make him slightly appreciate you, but that does not release the love hormone. These men don't even know why the women that stress them out and don't want them are the women they want the most. They couldn't tell you because it's a biological thing. It's science. And if you don't know the research, like I did it a couple of weeks ago, you would not know that. So on paper, you're like, oh, I'm going to do all these nice deeds and they're going to love me because when he does that, I love him more. But that releases oxytocin in you. That's what makes you love. We need to release vasopressin. So we need to stress these niggas the fuck out. So all the men in your DMs that are chasing you, keep ignoring them, love, because that chase, that stress is releasing more love for you. It's such a fucked up concept, but science said it. I ain't make the rules.
All right. So she said the reason why guys become obsessed with women when women ignore them is because it stresses them out. And when men become stressed, it releases a chemical called vasopressin, which is what makes them fall in love. That's a male's love hormone, a chemical called vasopressin. This is what social media is.
man,
Anybody can get on, and that's Western society nowadays,
that's
bro. 20,
dangerous.
2022. Anybody can just say some stuff on the internet and get a following. She probably gonna be an influencer. She probably gonna get paid at some point
Well,
by some company to endorse products.
I gotta tell you right now, she just stressed me the hell out watching that. I want to hit her up. I ain't hitting her up. The hell is she talking about? And, and and like you said, bro, this is dangerous. This is dangerous rhetoric. That the internet is passing amongst each other. This I don't know where she's getting this information from. All right. Now, she could have pulled this from a credible source. All right. She could have. But this interpretation of it, I have so many issues with it. A, much like last week, what love are we talking about? Because that don't sound like love to me. So I wouldn't call it a love hormone. That sounds like attachment. You know, when you hear a song in the morning and you didn't finish hearing the whole song, and then later on that day, you don't even like the song, but you keep playing the same song over and over again. There's something in the mind that wants to complete that. It wants to finish it so it can get it over with. There's heuristics in our brain psychologically that wants to solve things that are unsolved. Period. As men, as logical creatures, I'm sure there's a part of us that wants to solve something that has not been solved yet. So just because I hit you up again doesn't mean I love you. That means there was an unsolved thing here when you're trying to do this new brand of, hey, girl, when you ignore them, hey, we had a good situation going on. Why are you being weird? Like, what did I miss? So naturally, we're just trying to solve an equation. That doesn't mean that we are in love with anything. The man who misinterprets that trying to solve that equation as being love has got caught up in infatuation and attachment. I wouldn't call either one of those words love because it's called infatuation and attachment. It's not called love. So to call this a love hormone, then to get online and to start saying, hey, ladies, there's a point to this crazy stuff that y'all been doing. Let's amp up the toxicity to its maximum capacity. Hey, ladies, make him mad. He's really going to love you then. If that is not the most insane backwards logic I have ever heard. So what's all this stuff that a man just wants peace? Men just saying that because, well, it just sounds good? Nah, men want peace. And if you're aggravating him, well, that's disrupting his peace. So I don't see how the two correlate. So if there is a hormone in men that makes them want to finish solving an equation, that doesn't equate to love. And if a woman can prompt that chemical reaction in that man, that doesn't make it love. So for whatever scientists that decided to come up and find this hormone and label it love hormone and then spew it to the masses, this is propaganda and dangerous rhetoric. So I've got more on this. But sir, how do you feel about this chaos right now?
Bro, 100%. I could not have said that better myself. I've experienced that many, many times. I think any guy who's not married or in a relationship has experienced that many times. Every time I have experienced a woman who does that, any need that I have to follow up is strictly for the purposes of me gaining a better understanding of what to do or not to do so as to prevent that situation from happening again.
Right.
It's literally information gathering. It has nothing to do with me being obsessed with her or not. I don't know what that is or where that came from. Perhaps the reason why you get that kind of treatment whenever you choose to employ that tactic, you might be dealing with, and we've talked about this as well, a toxic male
Right.
who is going to exact his toxicity upon you because he is receiving an undesired result.
Thank you.
No guy wants to deal with a woman ignoring him. That's an undesired result. So you have men who are balanced and are either going to go their own way or seek additional information, or you have men who are imbalanced who are going to get crazy on you and try to force you into submitting to his will and doing what he wants.
Thank
In
you.
either scenario, Neither one of those situations I would interpret as love. It did love hormone, whatever the hell you want to call it. That's ridiculous. Okay, it's ridiculous. According to this logic, I must not produce a love hormone in my body must be devoid of the ability to produce such hormones. Because anytime that I've ever been ignored or just kind of shoved to the side by a woman, I have decided to go my own way. The last thing that has been on my mind is continuing to hit her up because there is a part of me that says, despite how much information I would like to continue to gain in this regard, I refuse to lower myself to groveling for her attention by repeatedly hitting her up. So, according to your logic, that must therefore mean that I am devoid of the ability to produce such a hormone. If I'm going to go by that logic, which of course I don't because I think it's ridiculous. And another thing, if it was all about stress, can we extrapolate that to the rest of life? I get stressed out at work every day. I do not feel an increased love or affinity for my job via that stress. Is it just stress? Is it stress towards women? Is it stress towards other human beings? Is it a different kind of stress? What kind of stress are we talking about? I have so many questions that you failed to answer in this clip, Miss Lady. And I would argue that your inability, or rather your lack of answering those questions, speaks to how many holes are in this particular type of argument, the fallacy inherent in it. There are other things that stress me out in my life. I get stressed out by friends. I get stressed out by family. I get stressed out by work. I get stressed out by money. None of that makes me gravitate towards that stress even more because I feel a love for it. That's ridiculous. I have no idea what you're talking about. So I think, again, you hinted on this, and we talked about this last week. A lot of this boils down to the type of men that these women are giving their attention to. More often than not, these women are choosing to give their attention to men who are imbalanced chemically, emotionally, hell, maybe even physically. And they don't know how to interpret the type of uh, nonchalant, indifferent, apathetic behavior that women are paying towards them. So, because they're experiencing this dissonance and they don't know how to handle it, they get angry and upset because they have emotional imbalances. And the only way that they know how to express themselves is to get mad and to press you. That doesn't mean that they love you. It means they're crazy. It means they're toxic and imbalanced. And if you ascribe to this form of behavior when it comes to how you treat men, it's no wonder why you're dealing with the same relationship difficulties over and over and over again.
Exactly.
None of this makes sense. None of it is valid. I find it completely and utterly ridiculous. And, I think you were 100% correct because the first thing that I was going to bring up was this is what I've chosen to do when I've experienced this. And it's all for the purposes of information gathering. It's not because I'm obsessed with her. I'm not obsessed with any woman who shows me indifference or apathy. And I think most men need to take that same advice. Don't give your attention to any woman who's being indifferent towards you. That is not an indication that she wants you to chase her. It's not an indication that she wants you to fall in love with her. It's an indication that she's prioritizing other men's attention over yours and deprioritizing you because she cares about other attention from other men. If it was all about doing this, if it was all about extracting this hormone from a man, then women wouldn't have a preference in terms of what they do with men. So you mean to tell me that if it's a tall, good-looking, rich guy, women are going to do the same thing? Of course they're not. They're not going to do that. If it's the guy that they always wanted to go after, let's say last week you talked about the mystery man or the fantasy man that you brought up, who checks all of the boxes, right? So if it's a guy who checks all of the boxes for one particular woman, she's not going to ignore him. She's not going to pretend to ignore his advances.
Exactly.
She's going to respond every time he calls. Every time he calls, she's picking the phone up. Every time he texts, she's responding. Every time he says, let's hang out, she's going to go because that man checks all of those boxes. She's not going to take the risk of playing these ridiculous psychological mind games because the price, the risk inherent in doing it juxtaposed to what you could lose if it falls against you. If you fall flat on your face, that's too high a price to pay. They're not going to do that.
Yeah.
So, what are you talking about when you say this stuff? None of this stuff applies. What this applies to is the typical men that you deal with on a daily basis and how you treat those guys with apathy and indifference because you deprioritize their attention in lieu of the attention of other men. It has nothing to do with any kind of strategy that you're employing to make them more obsessed with you. It's ridiculous.
And that's why it's so dangerous, because men have children, right? So your child is your child will stress you out, but you still love your child. So that's the same logic of, hey, go stress your dad the hell out. He'll love you more.
Yeah.
No. The reason why this kid stressed me out is because I want X, Y, Z for my son. And when he's doing WT and, it's like, what are you doing? So that's going to stress pops out. He loves his son. He's stressed because his vision is not being executed.
Mm-hmm.
And so so what level of stress are you talking about? Oh, you heard that right here, ladies. If he's stressed, that's when he's in love. No, so this doesn't scale out all the way. So just because you're going to piss him the hell off, that makes him going to love you more? No, the reason why the stress is connected to the love, I would argue, is because he cares enough about whatever the situation is. And then that the stress is a reflection inward of him actually not getting whatever he wants from the scenario. It's not the fact that the stress prompts the love. The love is where the stress is coming from.
Yes.
And so for her to sit here and just say that, go stress him out, girl, he's going to love you for it. It's dangerous. It's too late now. The cat's already out the bag. It's already running out the goddamn street. And these girls are sitting here and they're going to sit there and go, And now, because a woman's imagination is a beautiful yet dangerous thing. They have the most vivid imaginations out there. That's why there's some mystery man out there floating around, right? But with that vivid imagination comes strategic games, especially the toxic women. And they be bored. So they got time to develop and scheme and draw up a play. I'm going to do X, Y, and Z to get him pissed off. They already do that. Now they're here. That's already a flame. This, and here comes this girl with a whole can of kerosene, opening it and just dumping on there. She throws the whole damn thing on there. Now that same woman that was grappling with the concept of maybe I shouldn't be so toxic has now got a reason to actually go be toxic because it's going to make him love me more. No, it won't. It's going to stress him out further. Well, ain't that going to make him love me more? No. So how long do you think this is going to last? How long do you think he's going to put up with this kind of stress? And then there's also two kinds of stress. There's actual stress, and then that's the eustress. A man having sex with a woman is a form of physical stress. So, but there's stress there when a man works out, he's stressing his body, but he's doing it for a reward. So what kind of stress are you talking about? So again, this is dangerous stuff. Just taking any kind of stuff, and I've seen it in science. So just because it has the science check on it, you're going to sit here and run, and then it's the same thing, man. You tell somebody, hey man, I had on blue sneakers, I went up a red hill, and I took a nap. Hey man, this guy's got purple sneakers on. He went down a hill, and then he drank some coffee. And then so later on so this girl sit here and heard whatever. Now she's preaching this stuff to TikTok. And like I said, bro, the cat's down the street now. It's way out of the bag as soon as it hits TikTok. And if it got viral enough to hit our lovely platform, then it's already poisoned the minds of many women. The ones that were even on the fringe, that's like, you know what, all this toxic stuff, I don't know if I should be doing that. Last dude I was talking to, you know what I'm saying? I don't want a situation like that again. No, girl, keep going and doing that. That's going to make him love you more. Dangerous. So, yes, I would like the receipts on this science that she looked up. And because once we're dealing with science, doesn't mean that we're actually dealing with the truth. And a lot of things in the science field is built off theory. All right. And there's no difference between a theory and somebody else's imagination. All right. So just because some guy in some lab coat says something, or some woman in some lab coat and a stethoscope says something, doesn't actually mean it's true. So the things that you see in your everyday life that you witness with your own two eyes and the rest of your senses, that's generally what's going on in the world. And I would say this, fellas, don't buy the propaganda. I know you ain't, but don't listen to this and let some seed of inception get into you. Now thinking that, damn, this girl pissing me off, but I can't stop thinking about her. Maybe it's my love hormone. No, you're trying to solve that equation because you ain't like that song this morning either, but you still humming it in your head. So that's just natural brain processes. Make sure you do whatever you need to do to solve that equation, because there's something missing there. We're problem solvers as men. Solve that equation, and then that woman's going to be out of your life as you wanted her when you told her to get out of the house. So yeah, man, this thing got me charged up. I cannot believe this type of foolishness is being spread on the internet like this.
Yeah, see, it is dangerous rhetoric, and it's dangerous all the way around,
Yeah.
because you have enough guys out here who are trying to figure out why the hell women do what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And if enough men see some bullshit like this, when a girl is ignoring them and and not paying them any kind of attention, they're going to interpret that as she's wanting me to press her even more and more and more and more and more. That's how they're going to interpret that, and they're going to continue to do it. And what's going to end up happening is, on the back end, this woman is talking about you, belittling you, and embarrassing you for pressing her. She doesn't care about you. Like I said before, if you checked off all of her boxes, she wouldn't be doing any of this stuff. Psychological warfare of this magnitude only gets applied when you're dealing with somebody who you perceive to be worth the risk of pulling it off towards. Okay. If they thought that it was too risky a proposition to try and pull it on you because they don't want to risk losing you, they wouldn't take the gamble. They wouldn't do it. They wouldn't do it. So the idea is, if they're doing it, it's because they don't care enough about having you a part of their situation to not do it. So don't buy into that hype. Do not press these women on this. Do not press these women in this regard. Now, it's different if you're in a relationship with a chick, or if you're in a marriage with her or something like this, and y'all going through something and she's trying to ignore you. There's enough of a foundation there. You respond differently. But when you're out here and you're just meeting women and they're doing this stuff to you, it isn't because they want you to come after them. It's because they don't care enough to have you around. They're deprioritizing your existence. And it is not worth who you are, your self-worth, all that good stuff. It's not worth whatever you bring to the table to acquiesce to this. It's not. And I'm saying this, I'm bringing this up under the pretense that what she says makes some kind of sense, which it doesn't. It doesn't. But even if it did, you got to blow this whole thing up. It's not worth it. No guy want that's This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever. Like, no guy wants to be in a constant state of stress. That's ridiculous. No man wants that. And yes, the stress is tied to the fact that there is care present. That's where the stress comes from. The fact that there is the existence of care. Without the existence of care, there would be no stress. Exactly. So it isn't a situation where the stress is what's making him care. The care was already there, thus the stress becomes evident. That's what it is.
Thank you.
But people like this will twist this up. Like, people can just take whatever bit and piece of any kind of information, cross T's, dot I's, make a sound logic, if they're articulate enough and they know how to present their opinions well enough, they'll get in front of a camera, say it, and if it sounds good enough, people believe that crap.
Yeah.
And people believe this. No, what you have going on, ladies, is you are dealing with men who themselves are lacking in balance. And so when they are receiving the treatment from you that they are getting, they don't know how to handle it. And
Right.
so it manifests itself as a form of aggression towards you. It ain't love, it's toxicity.
Yes.
It's not love. So I don't know where she got this from. I don't know where she got this what is vasopressin, whatever she. I don't know what that is. I never heard. I don't know what that is, but apparently I'm incapable of producing it because I don't buy into this. It doesn't. It's ridiculous, and yeah, I 100% agree with you, bro. It is dangerous rhetoric, and it's just another aspect of, you know, modern relationships, modern society, modern culture, however you want to characterize it. It's another aspect of it that is causing these further complications. And it really needs to go away. And people like this need to stop making videos like this because it's ridiculous.
Yep.
It's dangerous.
Yep. And preserve your peace, fellas.
Yeah.
Preserve your peace, and
Yeah.
don't let anybody rock it. And if you're having a good day, and then here she comes with the BS to ruin your day, then you already know what to do with her.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
because one thing that we can't afford as men out here is to be stressed any further. We already got enough on our plate. We don't need women on purpose doing it to us so they can get their own narcissistic fix. So if there is an instance where, and that's a good way of gauging it. That's how I do it. When my days are as peaceful as my background is, and then here they come calling or texting with the BS, I know exactly how to position them, and I know exactly where they are in my life. It's like, oh, okay, so you heard I was having a good day. How's your day? It's going great. Or if they, especially if they heard my voice and it's hopping and jumping, I'm having a good day. All of a sudden, here comes some type of argument somewhere down the line. So when you're dealing with that level of toxicity, leave it at the door where you found it.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
yeah, fellas, we can't afford this. Um, so mount up. If you heard this, mount up. All right, because they're getting ammunition out there. All right, and this was the one that we just stumbled across. And there's a whole network of toxic 101 that's being preached out there on these platforms. So protect yourselves, fellas, and do not buy into the hype or the propaganda, because this is
Yeah.
absolute. This I'm beside myself by this. You got me
it's,
stressed out,
it's
but that
insane.
don't mean
Yeah,
we
it's
gonna be
insane.
good.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. It really is. It's pure insanity. Um, Men care, and that was the great. That's the one thing that women got hip to the game on. Once they realize that we be out here caring, they're out here running roughshod. They're running roughshod. And I'm not trying to make this a woman versus man thing. This is not anti-woman. This is
Right.
anti-bad logic and anti-toxicity. That's
Amen.
what it is. It's
Yes.
it's anti-toxicity and anti-bad logic. And this is bad logic. Guys, go your own way. There's a lot of women out there, and there's plenty of good-looking, attractive women who are not going to do this stuff. They're
Right.
not going to engage in psychological warfare because they want to get, as you put it, their narcissistic fix. When these women are being indifferent towards you, recognize what it is and don't press on that. Just go a different way because there's easier ways to go about doing it. You
Yep.
know, it's like your job. You can make, you can, work 10, 12 hours a day and get paid pennies on the dollar. And you look at other people who are getting paid triple what you get paid, and they're not nearly as worked as you are. There's easier ways to make a living, just like there's easier ways to interact and deal with women that don't involve such toxicity. Because trust and believe on a baseline level, when you're out here and you're trying to meet women and you're trying to deal with women on a level like that, you're going to deal with some toxicity, some dysfunctionality on a baseline expected level. But what you don't need is that on steroids, which is what this is.
Yep.
This just
And
takes it to a whole nother level.
and yeah, and so, and for the ladies out there, all right, yeah, this is dangerous. So as we said earlier, so we were talking to the fellas too, but ladies, all right, don't buy into the hype. Stay solid because because it may look like these thoughts is winning. They're not. That's why they gotta congregate in these conspiratorial circles to try to share more game. In order to keep a man, ain't no game necessary. Just be yourself and be solid. So these
Yes.
girls out here that's being conniving, and the devil is busy. So they working when you're sleeping. And so these girls here, they're constantly trying to find a new way to finesse men. So yeah, this here, let them have it. I damn sure let them have it. And I wish some woman comes to me with this foolishness. Yeah, let me ignore Dogon.
Hmm.
'Cause,
Oh, yeah, no, they come to me with it. I just know what the game is, so I'm out the door. You ain't gonna get me. Like life already is a handful. Than to have to deal with that kind of dysfunctionality.
outrageous.
And ladies, seriously, I understand life. I understand how the game goes. You're out, guys approach you, guys want to meet you. They trying to holler, they want to get your number or whatever the weirdo thing is to do these days. They want to get your Instagram or your TikTok. I ain't on the new weirdo stuff. I'm still on phone numbers and texting, but so I get it, and I know that y'all give y'all number out mechanically and all of this kind of stuff. But look, when the guy hits you up or when he calls, you know whether you're interested or not. Don't play these games with these dudes. Just don't respond ever. Don't respond. Don't respond. Or if you really want to be respectful, I know y'all won't do this, but I'm just saying it's an
Come on,
option.
God.
You can just no, they won't do this. They won't. There's enough date. They're not going to do this. But if you want to do it as respectfully as possible, just let them know, hey, it was nice to meet you, but I'm not really interested right now, or something of that effect. They won't do that, but it's an option. It's an option. But the games, the mind games, it's not a move. In fact, it's the opposite. You make a man love you by giving him peace, not stripping him of it.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know where the hell that came from. That is insanity. That is
Boy.
absolute insanity. That is absolute insanity. But it is what it is, yo. So that's our piece. We said a mouthful. Hopefully, y'all got something out of that. Do not listen to this bullshit. Please don't.
No, please.
Please
Come on.
don't.
Hey, race for 1K, y'all. We getting there. Let's go.
Yeah, facts. Yeah. So, all right, man, that was good, man. This is a good video, good night, good conversation. Another addition to the Conscious Approach video series in the books. As I always like to say, JV wins, Dogon SS. If you appreciate the commentary in this video, if you appreciate the commentary in any of our other videos, we post often. Subscribe to the channel. As you
Yeah.
can see on that ticker, as you can see on our graphics, man, we are in a race to get to 1,000 subscribers. So help us out, man. Hit that subscribe button, like the video, comment, because we pay attention to comments. We respond to comments. We also post these videos on Meta. So if you see in this video on Meta, like the video there too. Share it. Follow the page because we certainly appreciate you supporting logical content. You can follow Conscious Approach on Instagram at Con Approach, CONAPPROACH. You can find me on Instagram at JVWins, JVWINS. We are cooking slowly but surely. We appreciate everybody who has continued to hit that sub button as we grow the community. We enjoy making these videos, so we certainly hope that you enjoy watching them and being a part of what we are trying to put out there into the universe. We ain't perfect. We ain't trying to make ourselves seem like we angelic, but this is just our logic, and so we like to kick this game every now and again. Other than that, as usual, keep it G, keep it logical, continue to support logical content.
Absolutely. And the name is Dogon SS. You can find me on Instagram at Dogon SS, all right, or on YouTube at Dogon SS, or maybe even on DraftKings at Dogon _ SS. Ashanti, hit me up on Instagram, all right, and come stress me out. Also, fellas, as I always say, and ladies, don't be too high, don't be too low. Keep it calm, keep it chill, and keep it player. Because guess what? There's people out there that's really trying to get you off your pivot on purpose for their own personal gain. How about that? All right. So make sure you guys stay solid, man. Stay firm and stay 10 toes down out here because there's some really wacky people in the world. All right.
Yeah.
So until next time, everybody, we'll catch you on the flip side.
Yes. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. We are signing off until the next video. Until then, we out. Peace.
Cocaine. Skirt, skirt. Cocaine. Let's go.